questions over who's in charge of America's foreign policy. China ramping up pressure and threats after Nancy Pelosi's controversial visit to Taiwan. Beijing suspending all military and climate talks with the U.S. over the speaker's visit. At the same time, the Chinese military continuing its massive military drills, sending Taiwan's Air Force scrambling as dozens of Chinese fighter jets and warships closed in on the island. Now, critics say Biden's looking weak for postponing a scheduled missile test in the South China Sea. The Biden administration has been trying to ratchet down the tensions, but Nancy Pelosi is putting her foot down when it comes to Taiwan.
We have said from the start that our representation here is not about changing the status quo. Our friendship with Taiwan is a strong one. It is bipartisan in the House and the Senate. Overwhelming support for peace, the status quo in Taiwan.
And Secretary of State Antony Blinken is sounding the alarm over China's escalation of force.
These provocative actions are a significant escalation. The fact is, the speaker's visit was peaceful. There is no justification for this extreme, disproportionate, and escalatory military response.
All right, so Judge, is this China debacle under President Biden, does it appear that it's getting even worse now?
I don't think there's any doubt about it. I mean, you know, you think about what's going on in the world. We just took down al-Zawahiri. We've got the Taliban has reclaimed Afghanistan. There's a war in Ukraine. Russia is starting to join with China on various issues. And Nancy Pelosi is the Speaker of the House. She is the Speaker of the House. The House is in the United States. She is a legislator. That is her job. Now, my understanding is that the president didn't want her to go, that the White House wasn't in favor of this. So why they didn't put an end to it, I don't know. But what we've got is China now cozying up to Russia at a time when we didn't need this. Why Nancy is doing this, maybe she's not going to be speaker in a few months, maybe she knows it. And, you know, this is just for her timetable. And this whole idea, as I've said, I'll say it again, if we don't speak out for human rights in China, we lose all moral authority. You know, I mean, what is she in Taiwan for? Just to continue with the one China policy? I think it's a dangerous time to be doing this.
So, Joey, if she's there in Taiwan putting her foot down against the White House's wanting her to go and do this, if truly we are seeing President Biden take a back seat, it leaves us wondering who's in charge of foreign policy for this country, if not the president.
The story here for me the whole time has been this dynamic between the administration and Nancy Pelosi. Who's making decisions? Who's the leader of the Democratic Party? Who's the leader of the agenda of the party that is ruling our country? I mean, a lot of us feel like, looking at Joe Biden in history and Joe Biden now, he's being led by the more progressives in his party. Even some of his supporters have said, Henry Cuellar said that he's surrounded by people that don't hold actually Joe Biden's view and are influencing him when he was talking about the border. So my concern is not just like who's running our country, like, hey, Joe Biden's not calling the shots, but you know, what is Joe Biden taking into account when he doesn't stop Nancy Pelosi from going, if it is he believes that's not a good thing to do right now, which I don't understand why it was. This is a fight we're going to have. I mean, literally, Eisenhower was handling the Taiwan Strait crisis, right? So this has never gone away. Our policy for decades has been, and you've seen it on TV this week, to say we acknowledge the one China policy, which my understanding it had something to do with Taiwan's original claim to still be the legitimate government of China and has evolved into this one China policy, which is China's claim over Taiwan. So we have a government that talks out both sides of its mouth on this issue, hoping to pacify and kick the can down the road. That fight's going to happen sometime. And when I say fight, I don't mean war. I mean coming to terms with it. And if China feels empowered to do something about it now, or if they feel desperate to show their power to do something about it now, I feel like that's going to happen. This just probably isn't the administration I want in charge when it happens.
I'm sorry, and I rarely disagree with y'all, and I love y'all to death. But this is not an issue of policy. It's an issue of proportion response to what Nancy Pelosi said. I disagree with her on this. I don't think we should be involved in these affairs. But China sent a delegation, too. They sent a delegation of people with COVID, killed our elderly, right? They hid it from the world. Many people died as a result of that. And then they want to have war games. Yeah. They want to do missiles as a response to Nancy Pelosi having a conversation and a photo op with some old people.
We let them get away with COVID. What do you expect them to do?
Here's the deal. The bottom line is this. Whether I agree with Nancy Pelosi or not, the Speaker of the House is a co-equal branch. She doesn't take her marching orders from Joe Biden. If she wanted to go there, that's on her. The fact is that they feel comfortable telling them they're going to shoot down the plane of the person that is third line of succession. I think that's BS, and I'm sorry. I think it's anti-American not to stand with the Speaker of the House when they're threatening her like that. I just don't
think it's dangerous to America to not be lock in step with the Speaker of the House when she's doing this. That's the problem. I'm not really taking a position because I don't know if it were better or worse for her to go. I know that sitting here as an American, seeing our president and Speaker of the House being on two different pages with what is probably our biggest enemy, that scares the hell out of me.
I think we have to separate the policy, which I agree with you on, and the fact that the threats that China is doing are on American citizens, and the president has zero response to it, zero defense of Nancy Pelosi,
Well,
zero defense of the country.
So if this is indeed significant escalation, as Secretary Blinken suggested, how should the president be responding, Jessica?
I guess he should be saying that he will match whatever he has to ensure that Taiwan gets to keep its independence. He did have that little gaffe where he said that we would intervene in the same way that we did in Ukraine. Obviously, it's a very separate kind of issue, and we will not be sending troops to Taiwan. But what's really important here is that Nancy Pelosi is doing what dozens of legislators have done before. There are congressional delegations in Taiwan constantly. You saw 45 Republicans sign that letter in support of her. The Biden administration overstepped by getting involved in her plans and potentially leaking the details of this, because Nancy Pelosi regularly pops up in places because her security matters. You are not supposed to telegraph the fact that the person who's third in line for the presidency is going to be showing up somewhere, let alone somewhere like Taiwan. So that's incredibly dangerous. Whoever did that, I know Senator Cotton came on our network and said explicitly that it was the Biden administration. That hasn't been confirmed. He didn't want it. It obviously rocks the boat, and you knew that there would be a retaliation from China here. But this is no reason for us to turn our backs on decades of support of Taiwan or of Nancy Pelosi, who is an incredible figure in our government and representative of our values, and how much it meant to the Taiwanese people as well. You saw that reception that she got there. That kind of support matters when they live in the shadows of what China's...
But messaging matters, too, and to send mixed messages.
I think her messaging was perfect. I think that the Biden administration's messaging was far from perfect, and that this is on them versus the Speaker, 100%.
Well, the Speaker needs to call out the President of the United States. And her life is on the line, okay?
She made it, thank God.
And so she could have, and we're so grateful for that. But as we started off the show today about the partisan politics of this, she could have told Joe Biden, back me up. You said you've been my friend for all these years. They've threatened my life. What are you going to do about it? She's yet to do that.
He did back her up, he sent his representatives out there to say that he's not in charge of the Speaker's schedule.
I'll just never forget John Kirby last week asking, what's all the drama? Okay.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.